The real question I get, Zane, is none of those. The real question is, Jason, why would you even sell this stuff? And I'm actually not selling it. I'm giving it away for free when you buy ASM. Why would you do this? Here's the two questions I get, Zane. Question number one, why wouldn't you sell your own version? Why wouldn't you compete with them? Okay, and question number two is, why would you even teach this? Why wouldn't you just do it all on your own? Those are valid questions, and I appreciate those questions because that's a serious buyer question. You say, listen, Jason, I want to make sure I'm making the right decision, so give me the information. I want to make sure I understand where you're coming from. What are your motives? What is all that? And I'm assuming, Zane, because I felt immediately the resonance with you on that one. I'm assuming you're getting that question a lot here.
Oh yeah. Like, you could just take off and do this yourself, or like you said, just make it yourself because, well, I can't even remember the last time I logged into ASM. I'm all about the ASM Masters. So me and a whole bunch of other people watching are wondering those two questions.
Yep. So let's tackle both of those. Here's the first question. Why wouldn't I create my own version? Why would I just maintain my affiliate relationship with ASM instead of selling my own? That's an interesting question because of a lot of other people who used to promote ASM ended up creating their own versions of them. And by the way, most of them ended up getting a cease and desist letter because it wasn't exactly legal how they did it either, but that's a different conversation. But it's funny how I want to ask you as a consumer or as a purchaser, you listening right now on this video, how would you feel if the person you bought ASM from who backed you on ASM then turned around and 6 months later said, no, I got my own course? Wouldn't you feel a little bit of betrayal on that person? Wouldn't you feel like your trust has been violated a bit if they went out here and told you this was great and then they said, no, now I got this other thing over here and you should buy this instead? Isn't that a little weird?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, don't you think so, Zane? Isn't it kind of weird when they say, I'm backing this course, and then they come back and say, no, what I promoted to you wasn't accurate. Now it's this thing instead related to Amazon, and I just so happen to be the person who's created it, right?
Kind of makes you question the character of the person in the first place.
And even if it's legitimate, it still creates potential confusion. And so if I go out there and I really get my customers excited about this methodology and this approach, and instead of perfecting this approach to a level and degree that nobody else on the earth has to give them the utmost advantage, if I leave that or if I stray from that, well, I create confusion in my customers' minds. And do you think it's beneficial to have somebody who knows exactly what to do that you're helping guide and selling on Amazon? It's better to do that than create confusion, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
That's some smart positioning, man.
Well, you know, this is what I do. And so the idea here is if my customers ever sense me going against the grain of what I've always built my business around, who I first learned this from, and where I said, let's just take this thing that's working right now really well, which is ASM, and let's downright perfect it and go absolutely crazy to give anyone who wants to take Amazon an advantage they can't get anywhere else but right here. Not only is that a tremendously good business move on my part, because I've made millions of dollars, no joke, net profit in my pocket at the end of the day after all expenses, over millions of dollars promoting ASM. Okay? So it's a good business decision, but it's also valuable for my customers because at the end of the day, where I make most of my money is making my customers money because they will sing my praises, they will talk and say good things about me, they will refer friends and family to me, and listen, they'll have more money to come back and spend with me if I ever make them any other offers to build their Amazon business even further. So that's the first question is, why didn't I do this? Because why? It would be silly for me. I don't have an ego in this. I don't have to be the name on the course that you buy. I don't have to be the person on the video and on the website that you buy at the end of the day, right? I just got to provide for you the best solution that's going to give you the best advantage and the quickest path to profits with the best vehicle possible, which is Amazon. Does that make sense?
Oh, it absolutely makes sense. I mean, again, thinking about just the last couple of years of all the support and commitment that you've made to this, it fits and it resonates, I think, well, definitely with me, and I believe with all the people watching as well. It makes you go, hey, you know what? These people do get it, and they do want to see success from their students. I mean, it's such a departure from most of the internet marketing products that you'd see that it just builds so much confidence.
Well, and here's the second thing, and it's not for naught, but it's something to be considerate of. I gave my word, and an ASM once said I would never sell against it, and I never have. And we're probably the only people that have been true to that word, but I think it means something, all right? I'm not a saint. Don't get me wrong, okay? I'm not a saint. I'm a regular guy who's been very successful at a one or two specific things that I've just focused on at the expense of everything else, right? And this being one of them. And then if I say I'm going to do it, I do it. And I'm not the only one that can say that. Anybody you ask is going to agree. Yes, Jason said that. Yes, Jason did that. Yes, Jason has his track record. Yes, Jason, once he said he was going to go all in on ASM himself and build his own Amazon business, even at the expense of his $10 million information business. Did he do it? You're damn right he did it, right? It's just the way I run. That's the way that I work. I think it's the Iowa farm boy, small town mentality in me. I don't know, right? So hopefully that makes sense for question one. And if you think, if you don't trust me after that, then it doesn't make sense for you to invest with us here right now on this video, because that's the truth. And I can't do anything more to help you see my side of the perspective there. So either you say that makes sense to me, or you say, I don't know, Jason, right? Now here's the second question, which is, I think, a more important question than the first one. And the second question is very simple. Why would you teach this at all? Why wouldn't you just do this? And you get that, right, Zane?
I totally get it, especially being like, like you said, like the person who knuckles down and actually does it and follows through with it. Somebody who can move the way that you can move. Why would you even mess around with us mere mortals, if you will?
Yeah, it's a valid question. And here's the answer to that. There's three parts to this answer, but at the end of the day, they all pretty much mean the same thing. The first part of this answer is, I get some sort of enjoyment out of showing people the cutting edge thing that I've discovered. All right? It's hard for me to just bottle it up and keep it all to myself. It's like a really good secret. It's very hard to keep the secret to yourself. I'm sure, Zayd, you had a situation where somebody came to you and says, listen, this is just between you and I. You can't tell anybody else in the world this thing. And that immediately made you want to go and tell somebody, didn't it?
It totally did.
Yeah. No, you probably didn't, but it was painful to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was usually because you had to protect somebody. That's why you kept it a secret. In this particular case, the only person I would protect is myself. And I feel that's rather selfish. No, at the same time, I'm not just straight up giving it away for free. You got to pay some money to get it. You got to go buy ASM through this video here, and then I'll share my secrets with you. And that's a great way, Zane, to separate the pretenders from the winners. Is I know I will never have to worry and protect myself, because unfortunately there's not enough people there willing to invest in themselves to take that next step. And so I always will have the ability to take my cutting edge, my secret, and share it in this small community, and we'll all be able to benefit at a rate. Because unfortunately, only 3 people out of 100 even read a nonfiction book in a year. So what to speak of?
Wait, what? Say that again? Yeah,
only 3 people out of 100 read a nonfiction book for self-development or self-improvement per year, right?
Wow, I thought I was behind. Okay, good.
So I'm not too concerned. If people are willing to pony up, put the money in, put the time in, that's your only qualification that we need. And I'll share my secrets with you, because I know we'll always to have that advantage of being in that walled garden, that gated community there. So part of it is just for personal reasons. I like to share certain things. I don't do it for free. I'm not running a charity here, right? But I promise you, whatever you invest in, this is why this world is so wonderful. Whatever you invest in me, I can multiply. So you get a good deal, I get a good deal. Amazon gets a good deal, because we're helping Amazon get what they want. The person who buys your product on Amazon gets a good deal. If I did the math right, that's a win-win-win-win situation, is it not?
Absolutely.
People went somewhere else before, and they bought ASM through somebody else. And you know what they did? They came back and they bought the same course again. First time in history that's ever happened, right? By the way, right?
And they've done that pretty much since the beginning, right? Like I think they did it in ASM 2, 3, 4, and 5.
ASM 4 was the first time that they started rebuying again, because that was that point where we hit that critical mass, where we had such an advantage that it was undeniable at that point, in terms of bonuses, in terms of insider information, in terms of some of the stuff that we've innovated and always led, and always, no matter if you were ASM 1 or just signed up for ASM, always being supported on, right? So that's the first part. The second part of why wouldn't I just do it myself? Let me let you in on a little secret. I don't know everything about selling on Amazon. I know that's hard to believe, but I probably only know 1% of everything when it comes to selling on Amazon. Now, it can be said that 1% is still probably more than just about anybody else who sells on Amazon. But at the end of the day, it's 1%. So I'm in a wonderful situation, Zane, where sometimes I bring in very intelligent, very smart, and I don't even care, resourceful is what I care about, people who say, Jason, I'm willing to step up and go at this with you, to take Amazon the way it should be taken, as serious as you take it, with the approach and with the vision and with the methodology that you apply to it, and with you being the pioneer and leading the way. I'm willing to go in there with you, Jason, right? Guess what happens? They discover things that I overlooked. They see things because they have a different experience in life than I have. So they see things from a different angle than I see them at. Very often, my customers teach me just as much as I teach them at the end of the day. Now, one-to-one is definitely more in my favor. In the scales of how much I teach you personally versus you teaching me, probably any one thing you teach me, I teach you 100 things, right? But you add up 3,000 people that teach me one thing, right? That's 3,000 things. And what's wonderful is no matter how much we try to do, and talk about saturation on Amazon, Zane, I'm trying to saturate that damn thing, right? I'm trying to take all $trillion per year that this thing is going to produce. And no matter how many times I take a dropper to the ocean, I just can't drain it, right? I just can't do it. And so the thing is I can't be in all places. I can't be trying all things. I can't be doing all things. I can't specialize in all things. So by bringing in a community where my people are like-minded with the same approach and with an extra leg up or an extra many, many, many legs up on anybody else, I help facilitate breakthroughs from people in the ASM Masters community, and they come back to me. Why do you think I have people on the inside of Amazon who work with me, who share the scuttlebutt with me? Because they know how influential I am as a person to Amazon.com stock. That's not a joke. Yeah. That's the God's honest truth. And so it is very much good for me doing Amazon to also be teaching it in this capacity. So that's the second reason. Does that make sense, Zane?
Yeah, to have such influence that you can affect the Amazon stock. I mean, even just in a minor way, still way more than anything else. That's mind blowing.
Now here's the third reason. You ready for it?
Yes.
Why does Pablo Picasso paint?
Probably because he felt compelled to. He had to. Like it was his calling, right? Like he loved it.
There you go. For whatever reason, I don't know why, I call it destiny. And I know it's hokey and I know it's silly, but it's just what I feel, and that's what I'm telling you. I feel like it's my destiny. For whatever reason, I'm like Neo in the Matrix. I just see this. And for me to deny that talent, which God has given me on this earth to figure out how to communicate it to you, for me to try to suppress that, for me to try to shun that, I would never be happy. I would never be able to be settled and comfortable in my life to try to suppress that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, dude. There are things out there that I have come across. Again, I'm talking about specifically YouTube, but when I have had that opportunity to teach and then say, maybe that's not really the direction I should go, I always come back to the same thing. There's things in this, I think in this industry, there are people that just feel compelled to do it. Like Stephen King. Stephen King is a compulsive writer. He has to write 10,000 words a day.
If nobody buys his books, he writes. If everybody hates his books, he writes.
Yeah.
If there was no such thing as a book to write, he would invent it and then write it. Okay? It's just in my nature. It's what I do. Now, if you add all three parts up, my compellment, my personal joy of doing it, the fact that it makes me more money and makes it easier for me to do it, at the end of the day, it's all one single conclusion. The combination that I work, which is an X% of teaching and an X% of doing, and it's more doing than teaching, if you want to know the ratio, right? That perfect combination that I've dialed in on seems to be the one that makes me the most money. So if I just do, but never teach, then I lose some insights from my community that I would otherwise never have access to. I lose the connections. I lose the feeling of going in and doing something every single day and feeling that extra spiritual touch, that extra surge of energy, that electricity as I go about my day-to-day, right? I lose that, which then costs me money. And then on a further note, on top of all of that, right, when it comes down to it, I make money selling you this thing, and I make a lot of money doing it. So by having enough insight to sell it to you in a way nobody else can sell it to you, because I have the experience of doing it in a way nobody else does it. If I only taught it but never did it, Zane, I couldn't teach. I couldn't give you the real insight. I couldn't give you the real cutting edge. I couldn't give you the real scoop, right? So if I only teach and never do, well, gee, you can pick 100 guys out of the market that then they're all selling an Amazon course, and you can buy it from them. Good luck with that, right? If you only follow guys that do but never teach, then they won't have the skill set to help you see things in a way that makes you compelled to take action. If you have that right combination of doing and teaching, which I have, that's where you make a maximum amount of money on both doing and in teaching, because I can help you because I have the unique skill set and experience and the ability to teach it in a way nobody else does, which I get from doing. And I also get just because, like I said, I feel like I have that. I think I was born and blessed with the ability to break things down in a way that people can understand. And that's why we get so successful. And then to take that advantage and expand upon it, both in doing and in teaching. At the end of the day, if you want to know the real answer, Zane, I do it because it makes me the most amount of money, the combination of teaching and doing. But it's important to have the pretext, as we discussed, the background, if you will, the color of why those things are the way they are that lead to making more money. And by the way, I'd hope every single person would follow my lead. At the end of the day, you have a responsibility to yourself. More importantly, you have a responsibility to your family. More importantly, you have a responsibility to your community that you're a part of. More importantly, you have a responsibility to this damn planet that we're on. And here's that responsibility: to give more than you take, to contribute more than is contributed to you. You have that responsibility as a human being, and maybe it's never been posed to you that way, but that's my philosophy. That if you have that responsibility as a human being where you have to give more than you can take, and by the way, we can all do that. It's definitely a fulfillable thing where we can all give more than we can take, right? If you have that belief system like I do here, and you follow me into this, and we all go out there and we all can give more than we can take, that's what matters at the end of the day. And a lot of that has to do with your financial situation and your financial resources. Because if you don't even got the time to do what you know you're supposed to be doing, you're screwed. Finances will give you that time, or give you the opportunity to exercise that time. But more importantly, there are very few leaders in the world, and there's mostly followers in the world. Now, the wonderful thing is you don't have to lead the Amazon game. That's my role. I'll be the leader, you be the follower there. But in life, in terms of your family, in terms of your community, in terms of who you touch and who you come across on a daily basis, who you can influence, you're probably going to have to be the leader. Nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody else is going to take care of you. Nobody else is going to give you the money and say, here, I worked for all this, just have it, right? You're going to have to step up. And I'm asking you to step up. And I'm telling you, I'm going to step up there with you, and we're going to go through this journey together. And you're going to be able to take the next step with me by going through this video right now, and you'll see it right here on the video, and we can get started in ASM together.